Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with yet another Starcraft Remastered replay cast from the South Korean Leather 2024. Once again a replay with Flash, who is spawning here at the 12 o'clock position at the brown Terran here, and his opponent who is spawning here in the lower right as the teal Protoss. It is a barcode, so sadly I don't know who this pro South Korean is, but of course a very interesting Terran versus Protoss engagement once again here on a 3 spawning location map this time. A very beautiful map with a sandy ground. So yeah, back with another replay here onto the weekend. I'm going to try to be as active as possible. I'm going to try to find many more Flash replays. Of course, some J-Dons replays will follow as well, Bisu, and I might even try some Starcraft 2 as well. Now let's get back into the game. The build orders are going to be checked out very soon. We see Flash opening up here with a supply depot, and there's the pylon here for the Protoss very close to his gas, so he's not moving out, not going for a fast expansion build order. Looks like it's going to be a pretty standard open up here for both players, as there's going to be a nice triangle here of gas with a gateway and with a pylon, so quite interesting stuff. We also have a small hint from the thumbnail. We do see some shuttle gameplay once again here for the Protoss, a very common tactics in 2024 for the Protoss, as they have shifted from the arbiters towards massive shuttles. Actually 4, 5, even 6 shuttles have been seen by the Protoss being used against the Terran mech, against those tanks, against those vultures. Let's see if it's going to work out here versus Flash, as I'm pretty sure that Flash will eventually go for mass factories with his tanks, with his vultures, even some Goliaths. Could he be doing a surprise perhaps with some battle cruisers? We've seen him go battle cruisers versus the Zerg, but yeah, he's just now moving out with his SCV. We have passed the 2-minute mark, going straight for the base from the Protoss here, as the Protoss will of course very likely go into the early Dragoons, very strong unit for them versus the Terrans. And he's now also starting to scout, but now inflicting actually some damage already here versus the SCV. So this SCV might have a bad time here as he's taking more and more damage. So yeah, very soon the first Dragoon will be started. We actually see a command center here for the Terran, so very nice and greedy gameplay here. No expansion for the Protoss yet, so pretty nice stuff here for Flash as he has finished the barracks. And we also see upgraded air weapons, perhaps a misclick here by the Protoss. Very interesting stuff here, actually going for no, he's going to cancel it. So yeah, quite interesting stuff here for the Protoss. Perhaps a mind game here versus Flash, as he will of course have to go for the upgrade for those Dragoons. The range is much needed early on in order to micro those Dragoons, and yeah, there it is. So either a misclick or perhaps just to fool the SCV, the scouting SCV here. So in the end, the real important upgrade has started. And now Flash might have to be forced indeed to go for a defensive gameplay, to go for a bunker, as the Dragoon will slowly but steadily close here forward towards his base. So the bunker is finished, the first 2 Marines are in it, so this expansion should be secured. Dragoon already taking quite some damage out of those Marines, and I believe the first factory should start here as well for Flash. So yeah, with that we turn into a pretty normal gameplay here, as the Protoss has also decided to go for his expansion. More Dragoons are following up, and you also see a robotics facility base, so he might try to be early aggressive with some drops, with some shuttle drops, perhaps even into the main. It would be an interesting idea to go for a drop with 2 Dragoons, as more buildings are getting created here for Flash. Actually double factories around the 4-minute mark for him. Let's see if he's going to be going for some tanks or vultures early on. Vultures will be of course very good with those mines to secure the expansions. Tanks would also be nice here in the back with the siege ability, as we have already Flash at almost 30 workers versus the 23 from the Protoss. And we might see another gateway here for him. There's the robotics facility bay. No intentions to go for reavers yet, so still a normal Terran versus Protoss. The Dragoons are very close by, but of course Flash will have the first either tanks. Yes, indeed, he's going for tanks, going for an armory and engineering bay. Of course, we did see in previous replays that Flash is really giving great importance towards his upgrades from those tanks. from his mech, and yeah, the first harassment is starting here by the Protoss. Flash will have, of course, to bring another SCV here to have 3 SCVs. His micro is looking really great, and the Protoss is slowly but steadily catching up now with 31 workers versus the 37 here. And notice that Flash is also adding a turret in order to have vision in case it's going to be a harassment with some Dark Templars. Of course, the turret is much needed. Hold on, one tank might get snapped here. The SCV will immediately repair it, and the Dragoons take actually more damage. One had to be even microed back. So yeah, the tank with a very good range, but the Protoss still not giving up. He's moving forward, but the 2 Marines, actually 3 already Marines here, shooting towards those Dragoons, inflicting good damage, and I believe with that the harassment will very likely finish, as the Protoss is now pretty much walled off here with a observatory. And we also see some operates towards the missile range here from the Goliaths. 2 Goliaths actually getting produced here by Flash before is going to be, so he's expecting, of course, an attack with a shuttle. He might even try to snipe some observers as the first shuttle is getting produced here for the Protoss. And where exactly is going to harass Flash, we're about to find out, as we even have this robotics facility base. So no, it's a robotics support bay with speed actually getting started now for the shuttle. So yeah, where exactly is the harassment going to happen? Flash also keeps on guessing, so this is why he's sending out his Goliaths. He also has the engineering bay here, so he's having good vision of his bases, even a barracks right into this place. At the same time, Protoss might also not try to harass Flash. He's just perhaps going to try to fool him, and at the same time just establishing expansion after expansion in order to gain more of an economic advantage here against Flash. So yeah, defensive gameplay here by both players. Tanks, of course, with the weapons. One will be finished very soon. Some Zealots with a Reaver, so we should be having a drop very soon happening versus Flash. The Dragoons, sorry, the Goliaths are out. Not that much here to defend, so this would be a good position, even though there's a turret here. The first drop straight into the mineral line would inflict massive amounts of economic damage. Let's see if the Protoss will indeed go for that position right there, as we even have this starport, so we might see some science vessels much needed with EMP shockwave, even with matrix defense onto those tanks. We saw that Flash really likes that spell towards those tanks, and the Protoss actually going to more gateway units. So there's the shuttle moving out with his Reaver, with his 2 Zealots, going straight for this position. The Goliaths are already waiting here for him. Speed should be done very soon. Now there is vision, so Flash can be prepared. The shuttle will take some damage. Those Goliaths with that range upgrade very strong. The shuttle already taking quite large amounts of damage, so the Protoss will have to resync as we slowly but steadily turn towards the 10-minute mark here. So speed finally has been done. Perhaps he should have waited at least for speed to be done and then re-engage. A second shuttle is getting produced, so a great defense here indeed by the Terran, by Flash. Now I understand why he went for some Goliaths, in order to have a good defense versus the upcoming harassment by the Protoss. So we have 58 workers versus 54, even some turrets are getting added here by Flash. At the same time, some vultures with speed are now moving out in order to just place some mines here, perhaps be lucky and inflict some splash damage towards some Dragoons, and of course towards the reinforcements. But a great reaction here by the Protoss with those Reavers, the Garrett nicely connecting here, and yeah, Flash just buying some time with those vultures, spending those mines onto the ground. And like I told you, he is going to be a little bit lucky, sniping of course a Dragoon or 2, inflicting damage. But in the end this will be of course cleared. At the same time, Flash deciding to take another expansion. Total, actually we have a double shuttle attack here. Zealots have been dropped, but he's going straight for the mineral line here. Where are those Reavers? Those Reavers could get some good, huge connections here, but only the Goliaths will be targeted. Interesting enough, so Flash not taking any economic damage here, as more damage is being taken. The shuttle has been sniped. The Reavers are still pretty much alive, so a great micro here, but in the end, they will be taken out. 5 SCVs have fallen, but lots and lots of damage taken here by the Protoss. So the shuttle has been killed, the Reaver have been killed, and also those Allies have been killed. The Zealots, sorry, have been killed. In the end, some mining time has been lost here by Flash, but a pretty good micro, and also a lucky micro. You never know where those scarabs will connect, as Flash is now going to rebuild those last SCVs But yeah, the Protoss really inflicting much units there, losing important units, the Reavers and the 2 shuttles with the Zealots. I don't believe it was really worthy for 5, let's say even 6, even 7 SCVs. And now even his Dragoons will move forward and take damage a little bit out of those mines. So Flash nicely keeping the Protoss at bay as his Vultures are also once again moving out. I believe he's going to try to attack the newly established bases here from his opponent. And the Dragoons also very far out, so some tanks from the back will inflict good damage versus them, as the Vultures are now pretty much behind enemy lines. Also trying to still place those mines, still win some time here for Flash in order to slow down the Dragoon push with the Zealot push, and at the same time perhaps going to try to get a surround here. The tanks are moving nicely forward, so those Dragoons have been quite exposed. They do try to deal some damage. They will be able to snap some Vultures, but in the end this will pretty much clear it out. So a nice move by Flash, catching the Protoss off guard. So the Dragoons were way too far out, getting surrounded by Vultures and other units, and still the Protoss continues this tactic. So quite a aggressive tactic by him, but Flash just engaging and then regrouping into the back. Let's have a look at these factories. 5 factories for him, 1 starport. No other factories for him onto the map yet, as he's just pretty much expanding all over the map. Let's check the Protoss very quick. Double forge for him, so he's also giving importance towards his upgrades, and lots of more gateways. We will be checking now the upgrades of the Protoss. So they just started right now. Let's have a look at Flash. He should have 1 weapons upgrade, actually already 1 plate mail and 2 upgrade for the weapons, and now even starting 2 to 3 here. So at the 12 o'clock position, Flash once again showing us how important those upgrades are. Very strong versus the Protoss early on. And yeah, those tanks looking quite scary here into defending. Protoss may have the high ground here, but those tanks in the back protected by the supply depot, even by the SCVs here, ready to repair, as the Protoss is of course producing more gateway units, and now finally adding all of those upgrades, even having High Templars. So perhaps the High Templars, the drops with the High Templars, with the shuttles, will be able to inflict quite some damage towards those tanks that are clumped up together here by Flash. In the meantime, we do have an engagement in the middle of the map. Once again, the Vultures are behind enemy lines, placing those mines, winning some time here once again, and perhaps is going to lure those Zealots into the mines here. So good splash damage by Flash. Sadly, the Protoss not paying attention. The Dragoons should have been there to clear that out first, and not the Zealots. So the Zealots are quite hurt, so they will be the important mass in the front in versus those tanks from Flash. And now let's see how the game is going to continue, as the Vultures once again waiting here. Very hard to engage here with 2 cannons. And yeah, in comes the push out by the Protoss. Still the Zealots are being left behind, as the shuttles will also be ready to move out. It's actually just Zealots into those shuttles with 1 High Templar. So we might have a very important engagement now into the middle of the map, as Flash has also decided to move out. And notice how he's spreading those tanks. Let's see what's going to happen here with the drops. Just a couple of Zealots, not that many mines here by Flash, but in come the real damage dealers. The High Templars with the Storms will be able to engage those units, but in the end Flash did have the high ground. It was very smart here by the Protoss to retreat, as it would have been pretty much suicide to attack against so many tanks on the high ground with low vision. There was an observer here for the Protoss with good vision, but in the end even that one got sniped. And now Flash, like I told you, slowly but steadily getting very good upgrades, as he's now moving towards a different position. I believe he is indeed going to secure his other expansion right here. So quite an interesting macro game we have here in between the 2 pros. And let's see who's going to be the first one attacking us. As you can see, slowly but steadily we're closing towards the end minutes of this game. We do have actually 4 shuttles all of a sudden here for the Protoss, with lots of Zealots and High Templars, of course. In the meantime, Flash deciding to stay on the high ground, deciding to split his troops. We even have a science vessel with either the defensive matrix or EMP shockwave. So it's going to be very hard for the Protoss to engage here. Maybe he's going to try to attack the newly established base with some storms with his shuttles. Let's see, it was 4 shuttles indeed. Pretty sure he has High Templars with Zealots in there, and yeah, in comes the attack. The shuttles are forced in the front. They do take quite some damage, so they have to load those units down. There we have the defensive matrix. There we have the High Templar storms. Lots of storms are being taken here, but Flash even out microing that with those tanks. So not that much damage being taken. Yet another storm, but in the end Flash does hold. He did take some casualties there, but in the end he does hold, so it's very important for him. So quite an aggressive move here by the Protoss. Pretty much throwing lots and lots of units into the attacking forces by Flash. And now Flash with the speed upgrade, sensor array for the observer, more vision there, an interesting upgrade. But Flash is now pretty much moving out with his units, feeling that he has the advantage. But hold on, there's still High Templar storms available, there's still Zealots in the front. Notice that Flash has no vultures now being played with mines here. He's just moving straight forward with the Goliaths and with the tanks. The vultures have just secured the back with those mines, and now Flash just pretty much moving forward. Just like I told you in the beginning of the game, he has 2 armor with 3 weapons, so it's a major upgrade here for him, dealing more and more damage. You can see how much damage the Protoss units take. A nice storm here, actually many storms for those High Templars, getting some good connections. But I believe, look at that, the supply is really high for Flash. So Flash nicely sensing the fact that he had the advantage after the push from the Protoss. A little bit too much of a aggressive push out here by the Protoss, if you ask me. And now the newly established bases from him are pretty much under siege from Flash with so many units. Even vultures are moving forward. So the Protoss in some serious troubles. Could this be the end game, or is the Protoss somehow going to come back? Perhaps targeting the bases from Flash, the newly established bases here from Flash. But yeah, Flash just straight moving forward, once again using defensive matrix, a spell that he really likes a lot. We still have some dragoons here on the ground, but I believe Flash might have done it here. There could be still a desperate move out with the shuttles with some good drops. He might take out some tanks, but in the end, yeah, those tanks really scary in the back. And now more units are being taken out. There is a small counter-attack here by the Protoss, but pretty much a desperate move, as now his production buildings are pretty much taken out slowly but steadily, one gateway after the other. The expansion has been taken out here. Now the High Templars will take some damage as they move out. There's the attack. There are those High Templar storms getting finally some great connections, but I really don't think it's mattering that much. Perhaps it was just a GG move out here by the Protoss. And in the end, Flash with his upgrades, once again showing us how important those upgrades are for him. And yeah, way too much of an aggressive gameplay here from the Protoss, if you ask me. Losing some dragoons here, way far too out from his base. And sadly for him, his harassment didn't really work out with the 2 rivers. So yeah, unlucky moves here by the Protoss. It could have been of course really well if the Scarabs would have gotten some great connections, and also if those High Templars might have taken out some SCVs here, but sadly for him it didn't really work out this game. Perhaps in the next game. Let's just check those stats very quickly, as I'm going to be clicking left and right. So quite an interesting game from both players. In the end, the macro game from Flash proved to be too strong for the Protoss. Yeah, his mech gameplay looking very strong with those upgrades. And I also noticed that he's not using those mines that much next to his tanks, so knowing of course that the drops with the shuttles will inflict so much splash damage, so using his vultures only to harass, only to place those mines in the middle of the map, just to slow down the push from the Protoss and also get some lucky shots. But in the end, the vultures weren't really part of the main move out here by Flash. Perhaps this is also a change into the Terran strategy. No more mines next to your tanks, because the Zealots will pretty much punish that. And of course the High Templar storms with Psionic Storm also dealing good splash damage. So yeah, quite an interesting game. I hope you guys once again enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.